Welcome to another edition of Weekly Tuesdays Training Tips with Tuff. And I am Christy May, founder and CEO of Legend Acres and Legends Heroes. And today, for our third training tip in Teachuary, which is our code for February this month, because this month is Dog Training Education Month, we're going to delve into the importance of consistent training routines to build a solid foundation for your canine companion's development. So our focus today is on establishing consistent training routines. By doing so, we aim to reinforce positive behaviors and create a structured learning environment for your furry friend. So, first of all, when we talk about this, there's a time to do homework and then there's a time to incorporate things into your day-to-day. And so I want to talk a little bit about the difference between the two of those. So first of all, let's talk about establishing a daily training schedule. So if you have a young dog that you are still working on fine-tuning their skills, then that consistency begins with a well-defined training schedule time, okay? So plan for short, focused training sessions that align with your dog's attention span, okay? If your dog gets up and after breakfast has the zoomies, that is not the time to put together a training routine. You want to set your dog up for success. And so with that, when your dog is able to focus. If your dog is taking a nap, also not a good time to work on training routines. Okay, so when we talk about short sessions, what I need you to remember is that dogs learn best in sets of 3s and 5s. Okay, so keep it short. 3 minutes, 5 minutes, done. Okay, get out of there. Make those sessions super short. Okay, and do multiple throughout the day. Building a regular routine helps to build into your dog this idea of that there's a time for work and then there's a time for play. And so when we do this correctly, we are setting our dogs up to succeed in the future, because when they're busy, okay, playing or doing something, and we need them to then follow direction, we want them to know that just because we're asking them to follow direction right now doesn't mean that playtime's over. Okay, and we're never going to get back to play. So when you keep your sessions short, say that a couple times fast, then what you're going to find is that consistency is going to help your dog in setting them up for success, because you're interrupting their daily schedule to do some things, and then you're turning them back loose so that they can go on about their business. Because what we don't want it to be is that we only ask our dogs to do things when they're doing something that they consider fun that we don't want them to do. So what happens then is we don't want you to turn into the fun police. We want you to be the fun interrupters, not the fun police. You're going to find that you're setting your dog up for success when you approach training in this way, instead of these like big time blocks that you're doing. No more than 20 minutes a day. Now, that does not count cognitive exercises or anything that you're doing to set your dog up for success, like your walks and things like that, especially if you're doing your sniffy walks, your sniffaris. Those need to be outside of that 20-minute time frame. And any kind of enrichment games or anything that you're doing, those don't count as training. Those are going to fall into a category more of enrichment, and you want to sprinkle those throughout your dog's day also. Okay. The other thing that I want to talk about is consistency in commands and rewards. So communication is key here. Consistency extends beyond the time frames to the way that you deliver your cues and administer your rewards. Stick to the same set of cues for specific actions. So one word, one meaning, one action attached. If you're using the word off for jumping and someone else in your house is using down for jumping, if you ask for a down or a off, you're not going to get either, okay? So making sure that your communication is super clean, super clear, and very consistent, okay, with that. Also, two is that the predictability, okay, of doing things the same way, especially when we do it in this clean way of name, cue, reward, okay? And so when we set this up, okay, when we say our dog's name, what we're teaching them to do is respond to that name. Okay, but we're also setting them up for that there's probably something coming next. So now we have their attention. We can give them the cue of what it is that we want. Now, from the time that you have your dog's attention to giving that cue, you only have 3 seconds. The average dog has an attention span of 3 to 5 seconds. If you're going to notice, there's this theme here with these 3 to 5s. Okay, there's been a lot of research done on this. And so with that 3 to 5 second attention span, you only have 3 seconds after you say your dog's name, okay, before you give them the cue. Now, that does not mean that you can say Fido, sit. You have to give a space between Fido, sit, okay? Now, after your dog executes, which you just asked them to do, you only have 3 seconds to reward. So when you're in the beginning stages of training and you're just setting your dog up for success, your reward already has to be in your hand before you ask a question. Because if you don't, then what's going to happen is you're going to be rewarding the wrong behavior. Okay, so timing is key in this, right? So for example, if I put my dog in a sit and then I don't have my treats ready and I turn and walk away, go get some treats, okay? So if I'm getting my treats over here and then I hand my dog a treat standing here next to me at the counter after just opening the treats, are they being rewarded for the sit that they did over here or following me over here to the counter to get some treats? Okay, so the other thing I see a lot of too is that when we're too slow to give that reward, the dog jumps up. Okay, and so for a lot of dogs, they believe that sit means put my butt on the ground and stand up real fast because they're getting the reward when they're standing. And so timing and consistency in what you're doing is really important. If you have a short dog, get down on their level. Get down on their level and set them up for success. Okay? If you're up here and they're jumping up to meet you, you are not setting them up for success. Okay? Or use a target stick or a wooden spoon or something that you can get down into their level very quickly before they have the opportunity to get back up. Okay, and so consistency in the words that you use, consistency in the rewards, and consistency in that timing of what you're doing. Okay, the other thing is too is that so creating a dedicated space where you're going to minimize your distractions is going to help you set your dog up to understand what you're asking. Okay, but it doesn't stop there. Once you've created a space and an environment that lets your dog focus and learn the skill, now you have to take that to skill to other places, okay? And so that process is called proofing. And so we'll talk more about that later. But a sterile environment inside your home. So when I say sterile environment, it's not that you sanitize your house. It's that you have a less chance of something like a leaf blowing across your path when you are working in a dedicated workspace that has minimum distractions in your home. That's what we consider a sterile environment. Sterile environment is where you fine-tune those skills. Okay, rewarding at a 1-to-1. So CRR stands for cue, response, reward. In dog training, it's a ratio. And so at the fundamental level, you are rewarding at a 1-to-1 ratio. Okay, so for every one cue that you give your dog and they execute, they get one reward. Okay, and as we get into intermediate level, we move them to salary-based pay, which is a 1-to-5, and then advanced is a commission-based pay, and that's a 1-to-10. Okay, we will talk more about that also in the future, but just so that you know where this is going with your dogs. Okay, what you want to do is after you have mastered those those skills in your sterile environment, you want to take those to a different environment. Now you want to take it to the living room and to the kitchen and to the hallway and to the bedroom and to the bathroom and to the backyard and to the front yard. And then you want to take it to the park. Then you want to take it to the parking lot. Then you want to take it to wherever you go. Because what you want to do is you want to take these skills and you want sit to mean sit, no matter where you're at, no matter what is going on. And so this is how you set your dog up for success, is this consistency up front in your training. Okay, so today we talked about incorporating consistent training routines into your dog's daily life because it lays the groundwork for a well-behaved and responsive companion. Stay tuned for more tips with Tuff to enhance your training journey. And remember, consistency is key to success in building a strong bond with your furry friend.